Namaste to all the viewers. I welcome you all on this national webinar series Yoga Ramayana Vishwakosha History. I am very pleased to introduce Dr. Ishwar V. Basavareddy sir on this session today. He will be taking a series of lectures on Ramayana for a week. He is a world renowned yoga scientist and educationist. He will be speaking about Yoga Vasishtha today.
पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Namaste, pranams to my Guruji, pranams to all the disciples of Sri Rama, pranams to all yoga enthusiasts. Today we are going to discuss the Yoga Vasishtha and the introduction for the next 7 days discourses to understand various concepts, teachings and dimensions of Yoga Vasishtha. As you know, two great texts of Sanskrit literature written by Maharishi Valmiki are, one is Ramayana and the other one is Yoga Vasishtha. They are primary source of knowing about the life and teachings of Lord Sri Rama. Valmiki Ramayana throw a light on the biosketch of Lord Sri Rama, and the Yoga Vasishtha presents an in-depth discussion of Sri Rama and Maharishi Vasishtha regarding all aspects of this universe and advocating therein the way of ideal living. The entire matter is to understand the universe and the supreme consciousness and its relationship with the human being, and most importantly, the life is more important. So we'll come to know at the end, even though after getting all these teachings by his Guru Maharishi Vasishtha, Rama came back to the world and ruled the country. Now it is known as the ideal kingdom, the Rama Rajya. Therefore, the entire teachings of Yoga Vasishtha are very, very important in the present context, which leads to the teachings of the ideal living. Yoga Vasishtha is a popular text on Advaita Vedanta. It propounds the Advaita Vedanta. It is in a Puranic form and philosophical in content. It's not a practical aspect like various Hatha Yoga texts or even it is not like a sutra of Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. And Yoga Vasishtha is also known by the following names: Maharamayana, Uttara Ramayana, Ashra Ramayana, Jnana Vasishtha, Vasishtha Ramayana and Vasishtha. Whatever we choose to call it, it is the earliest detailed work of Yoga Vedanta and gives a magnificently detailed exposition of the subtleties and insights of the philosophy with a majestic sweep that has never been equaled in any metaphysical work since or ever. So probably it was written by the great poet Valmiki, probably around 500 BC, although maybe much earlier, in the form of dialogue between sage Vasishtha and his people, the young prince Lord Sri Rama. And it is one of the greatest yoga scriptures. It's a vast work of approximately 32,000 verses. Some people say 28, 74 like this, but broadly it is 32,000 verses, 64,000 lines. Each verses is of 2 lines. Supplements the epic poem, the Ramayana, which is more popularly known throughout India and the world. So in India, many people sing the Ramayana in its totality. In the Balakanda section of Ramayana, it is stated that Sri Rama was given spiritual instructions by Maharshi Vasishtha, and Yoga Vasishtha is that teaching, whereas the Ramayana describes the epic life and adventures of Sri Rama. As I said earlier, Yoga Vasishtha presents his inner realization in detail for those who wish to intensify their spiritual life. There is an inherent spiritual quest. So the Yoga Vasishtha presents and fulfill the wish of many spiritual seekers and intensify their spiritual life and deepen their understanding about the universe and the self and the relation between therein. This is the most wonderful piece of work in the entire Sanskrit literature. The Mokshopaya, it's one more name of Yoga Vasishtha, a text that developed for maybe many centuries before. I use the word maybe. Reaching its present form about a millennium ago, gives practical advice for living philosophical life. So worldly life and transcendental life. And it teaches us the philosophical life. This wisdom imparted by Maharshi Vasishtha to his young protege, Lord Sri Rama, defies the world. It defies the outward form of seriousness. Outward form of seriousness. Vasishtha teaches not by admonishment but through the tellings of very good stories, there are many stories interesting stories in Yoga Vasishtha. Yoga Vasishtha is a text that primarily through narrative, it's a narrative in nature, conveys a transformative philosophy. What is that transformative philosophy? A total transformation of consciousness, the basic relationship between the knower and the things he knows. So, the entire, I found the Yoga Vasishtha, it conveys a transformative philosophy. The verses of Yoga Vasishtha are structured in the genre of ancient Indian literature called Grantha. Grantha. In this genre, each sloka or verse in the text is designed to equal 32 syllables. Kindly see the very nature of the Indian entire scripture, the Sanskrit literature. So well designed, the word, every letter, every word, every phrase, and every sentence, every verse has been well designed appropriately. Therefore, each sloka in the text is designed to equal 32 syllables, which, while conveying its message, a grantha can be sung, and depending on its meter, you can see various Adi Shankaracharya's slokas or shatakas, Nirvana Shataka, etc. They have been sung in the various meters. Therefore, a grantha can be sung and depending on its meter, set to specific raga of music. So, as you know, the music has the impact on our mind and emotions. Therefore, our Indian culture greatly take care of our mind, its management. Through that, we can manage both the transcendental world and the materialistic world. This genre is found in Bhakti literatures. It may be seen in any Bhakti form. And Yoga Vasishtha's Advaita theories and monism might have influenced Grantha literature of Sikhism. You can see the Guru Granth Sahib. So, we never discuss various aspects. I am opening up one by one. How this ancient wisdom has influenced later philosophical systems or various schools of yoga. So, it is the earliest literature on the monism, but it can also include the various dimensions of bhakti. Therefore, Yoga Vasishtha, Advaita theories and monism might have influenced the Grantha literature of Sikhism. Some of the reflections of Sri Rama and all those who begin to think of this life very seriously. What is that? Man longs for happiness, but finds it at every point of time he is not at all happy. So, the very next moment the sorrow, the misery, the sadness follows. Therefore, Sri Rama asked his teacher certain questions, which are the questions of every human being, every thinking individuals. Is there any better state of existence which may be free from suffering, ignorance and grief, and be full of unconditional happiness or bliss? So, this is wonderful. You can see the Buddha or in Sankhya of Kapila, everywhere dukkha is, it is inevitable. We cannot avoid dukkha, the pain, suffering. Sankhya refers into three kinds of suffering: tapatraya, dukkhatraya, adi bhautika, adi daivika, adhyatmika tapa. Buddha also emphasized about dukkha, and desire is the root cause of all dukkha or the suffering. And therefore, it goes on asking, what is the spell by which the disease of worldliness, the source of all kinds of suffering, can be cured? How can one experience unchanging and perpetual happiness? What is the method? What is the science? What is the art of saving this life from undesirable occurrences, punarjanma, suffering after suffering after suffering, life after life after life? There is no end. What is the end? In what way should man live in this world without being born to it? It's a very, very important question. Let me know the best possible secret of becoming free from the suffering of life. See, the young Rama asked all these questions. Friends, who are all these spiritual seekers? Hundreds of such questions comes in every walk of life, but we ignore. We engage in our worldly things more than our spiritual seeking, thinking to overcome the dukkha or the pain permanently. So that's why in the young age you can see the life of Gautama or Shankara or Rama. All are yogis in nature. We call them God, but they are born as a human being. With that sadhana, they elevate into the states of God or Lord Bhagavan. We should understand this. It is possible for every human being. Yoga Vasishtha teaches that for to elevate ourselves to the higher levels of consciousness. That is the very purpose of life. Yoga Vasishtha is thus meant for people who are so keenly alive to the undesirable aspects of life and so eager to know the secret of freeing it from them. So how to get rid of from these suffering, not only the disease or the pain, permanently the bondages of life after life after life. Therefore, the cause of all suffering, according to the Yoga Vasishtha, is Trishna, or the desire for the worldly aspects. As I said earlier, it stings one like a venomous serpent, cuts like a sword, pierces like a lance, binds like a rope, burns like a fire, blinds like a dark night, and grinds down its helpless victim like a heavy stone. See the words used. It's very bad. Therefore, Trishna, or the desire for the worldly objects, bonds us for the sufferings. Therefore, Patanjali also emphasized that. What is that root cause of all the suffering? Avidya, ignorance, is the root cause. Therefore, the ignorance or the desire, Trishna, destroys his wisdom and upsets the balance of his mind and emotions and throws him into the deep and dark well of infatuation. So we cannot come up. Again we are getting down and down and down. So our longing for worldly object is due to our ignorance of the true nature of ourselves and about this world. Ignorance is therefore, as I said earlier, is the root cause of all suffering. Avidya is the root cause. The fountainhead of all evils is the lack of knowledge. The best and the most effective remedy for all suffering is the attainment of wisdom. Moksha, the freedom, attainment of the knowledge. That knowledge is called Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. That's said in Vedanta or Advaita Vedanta or Jnana Marga. It said, so the true yogi who knows the very nature, he always remains with Nitya, the permanent one. What is Nitya? Atman is Nitya. The self is Nitya. What is Anitya? The forms of Prakriti, the mind, the body, all are Anitya. The self is the essence of human being. That is Nitya. Therefore, remedy for all suffering is that attainment of wisdom. Therefore, in the entire yoga's teachings, jnana has been given more importance. So, let us come to the highlights of Yoga Vasishtha. The Yoga Vasishtha is written in the conversation style, as I said, and the spiritual instructions given to Sri Rama by Maharshi Vasishtha. First of all, Sri Rama raises the problems. So whenever you go for, first you have to understand what are your problems and analyze the problems and get the solution. See the things, very logical format. The main theory of Yoga Vasishtha emphasizes on Prana Spanda, Chitta Spanda, Vasana, the various desires. These are the three: Prana, Chitta, Vasana, desires, which leads to the attainment with this worldly life. It is the attachment with this worldly life. What is that? Prana, Chitta, Vasana, the desire. The path of freedom and liberation is Prana Spanda Nirodha, Chitta Spanda Nirodha, Vasana Kshaya, elimination of desires, or Paravairagya, which ultimately leads to the freedom. Sri Rama relates his growing awareness of the transience of life and of all worldly aims. A great Vairagya, dispassion, arises in him, which later develops into Mukshutva, longing for spiritual emancipation. Subsequently, Sri Rama is fully enlightened by the teachings of Maharshi Vasishtha. In the process, every aspect of yogic and Vedantic teaching, so particularly Advaitic Vedantic teaching, is beautifully and fully developed in the text Yoga Vasishtha, in the 32,000 verses. So what I found, the main principle of Yoga Vasishtha, what I found is the world is the creation of mind. So we live in our mind, not in this body. Projection of mind. Prana gives stimulus to the mind in the opening stages. Therefore, it is better to understand the relations between the mind, prana and body, because the entire world that we are creating, it is not the actual, it is not the reality. Where we created, it is created in our mind and it is projected. Therefore, in the beginning the prana gives its stimulus to the projection. Therefore, to understand the very nature of the mind, its management. That's why Yoga Vasishtha, the famous definition, Manaprashamanopaya, conquering the mind, is one of the fundamental objective of Yoga Vasishtha. So now the Yoga Vasishtha is divided into mainly 6 chapters. Let us go through the 6 chapters what are the different teachings in man. The first one is the Vairagya Prakarana, dispassion. At sage Vasishta's request, Sri Rama described the cause of his mind's unusual melancholy state. Start thinking about the young age. He elaborates upon the transiency, senselessness of life, and changing nature of all objects in this world. No objects in the world are permanent, they are go on changing. It's only a matter of time, kala and desha, space and time. These vivid descriptions of the vanity of all the worldly pleasures and of the emptiness of the worldly glories are meant to promote Vairagya, dispassion, which is the first basic requirement for treading the path of wisdom that leads to the self-realization or the freedom. Therefore, in the Vairagya Prakarana, it's completely how he got dispassion about this world and worldly things has been explained. The second, it is aspiration for the self-realization, which is called Mumukshu Prakarana, which details upon the qualification that are necessary before one can seek immortality, the freedom. We are mortal, but immortality. One should not rely on destiny, but rather gain an insight into the fact that the self in him is the ceaseless source of all energy and creativity. This is wonderful. We should befriend one of the four gatekeepers of liberation. Who are those gatekeepers? Serenity, pavitrata, contentment, santosha, spiritual quest, spiritual inquiry, and God association, good association. Good association is as if God association. These are the four important gatekeepers. With the help of that one gatekeeper, he will automatically befriend the other three and finally enter into the blessed place of liberation. In Mumukshu stage, it explains various aspects of getting into the self-realization or the liberation. And the third one is the origin of the world process, the Utpatti Prakarana, is an exposition on how the world evolved from the absolute and is ever rooted in the absolute, the universal consciousness. In fact, the world is an appearance sustained by the limitations of the mind. As I said, we live in our mind. World is created in the mind. When these limitations are overcome by intuitive wisdom, what is called as yoga pratyaksha, mystic experience, it is suprasensory, supra-intellectual in nature, it becomes non-existence. All our knowledge is sensory, comes from the senses and intellectual analyzation. Therefore, when these limitations of senses or intelligence are overcome, the wisdom comes. That's called yoga, dhyana. That's why Vasishtha rightly said, what is yoga? Yoga is dhyana, yoga samadhi. Yoga begins with dhyana. So every yoga seekers should know this. All other things what we are doing nowadays are just the ways or the means to meditation or to the yoga, leads to the meditation. Practice is leading to meditate, where yoga begins with meditation. There you enter into the state of wisdom. Then the Sthiti Prakarana, the sustaining reality of the self, was explained in the 4th chapter. This section explains how an aspirant, having attained knowledge, can abide in Brahman. Even though the world continues to appear as it is, the underlying reality behind the ego sense in man is the absolute. When the illusion of duality is negated by wisdom, it's very important. The illusion of duality is dukkha, always. Therefore, in the asana also, tato dvandvana bhigataha, the entire process of yoga is to overcome the duality. Therefore, Sankhya of yoga and Vedanta of Shankara, they always go in the same line of thinking. Therefore, when the illusion of duality is negated by the wisdom, a yogi lives and spots in Brahman. The self is realized as the creator as well as the enjoyer of the universe. This has been explained in the Sthiti Prakarana. The 5th one is the Upashama Prakarana. Here in Yoga Vasishtha deals with a stupendous experience of peace and results from spiritual enlightenment. The characteristics of a self-realized sage or a Maharshi or a Muni are described in a glowing terms. The section also gives instructions for the removal of ahankara, the ego, for the promotion of equal vision and for the attainment of absolute detachment from the world process. The last, the Nirvana Prakarana. The voluminous section is divided into 2 parts. The first part, it's called a Purva Bhaga. The yogi discovers his essential nature. What is my true nature? He realizes his true identity as a Brahman. I am the Brahman. I am the Absolute. The underlying reality behind all individual beings as well as the universe. He becomes all that is. In this, Sri Rama enters into divine ecstasy. That divinity he enters into. So that's why, so kindly treat Sri Rama as an human being first. He evolved with its knowledge, wisdom given by his teacher, great teacher, and enter into the divinity. That's why it's called Bhagavan Rama. In the second part, the Uttara Bhaga, Yoga Vasishtha presents the beatific vision of Nirvana, the liberation, which is the extinction of all cravings. Vasishtha describes his own personal experience of Samadhi, various stages of Samadhi, and of the majestic vision of the entire universe being nothing but the self. So, most important thing is its universe is infinite, but I am finite. Finite cannot understand the infinite. That's why the Maharshis or yogis like Vasishtha and the great sages of the ancient sages always try to find how to evolve ourselves to that universe infinite thing so that I can see the absolute and remain in that absolute with this absolute. This entire process of Jnana Marga is depicted in the Yoga Vasishtha. So to conclude, most important thing I find, Sri Rama attained enlightenment, but has he given up his entire life? He left the worldly life? No. But instead of turning away from the practical duties of the world, he prepared himself to perform them, even as the great divinities who create, sustain and destroy this world with a spirit of absolute detachment, vairagya. He evolved He attained the divinity, but he has not left the duties and responsibilities of he remain, but internally he is detached, a Vairagya Murti. So therefore, this is the message of Yoga Vasishtha that has to be studied in depth. In the next another 6 lectures, let us see the one chapter, and particularly the last 2 chapters are more important. Various dimensions of mind and mind management. Understanding mind and mind management we will discuss in our next discourses. Thank you very much. Dhanyavad. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
I thank Dr. Ishwar Basavareddy sir for his beautiful speech on Yoga Vasishtha. Tomorrow with another topic. Namaste.